Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ful-on, your Fulham Centric Football podcast. Ash Woolford. Joining me for our first episode back after a short break are both the Jacks. AJ, how you doing, mate?
All good, all good.
And Mozza, how you doing, mate?
Very well, thanks. All the better for seeing both of you lovely faces.
Yeah, obviously we're here just to give a quick catch up, say hello. You know, we haven't sat in for a little while, haven't sat down. In our defence, there has been absolutely bugger all to talk about when it comes to Fulham. We've not been able to do an episode that we'd like to do where we discuss the new design of the kit. We still don't know what it looks like. We've had no transfers yet, so we can't really talk about that. So it's been a frustrating one. We're also here to just announce some of the new things we've got coming on this season. Have a little quick discussion about them, just so that everyone knows what to expect from us this year, because we are hoping for a bigger and better show from ourselves. And we've already sat down and recorded some content for the channel, which was quite fun and quite different for us. So it'd be good to sit down and chat for that. Let's get started, lads. Let's just talk about what's going on at Fulham at the moment. Bugger all, AJ. It's really frustrating, isn't it? That what are we now? 24 days until the start of the season. We've got no kit, no signings. Some will say it's quite worrying.
Yeah, it's worrying is a bit of an understatement. Had you asked me to put money on who would sign players, who would sign people first, Ful-on or Fulham, it turns out that your money should have been on us because we've got 2 new signings and Fulham's got sod all. Unless you count re-signing a player that's been with the club for 10 years after his contract has expired as a new signing, because I know we technically did that with Willian twice and re-signed him and he got a whole new announcement. I think Kearney should feel a little bit hard done by the fact that he didn't get a big what if about him. Although his video was very good, to be fair. It was pretty good bait. I will give credit to the Fulham media team there, who seem to be the only ones doing anything, which is quite remarkable considering there is sod all happening at the club for them to make content on. So bravo to them. Yeah, I mean, what I want to talk about for a second is not necessarily the fact that we haven't signed any players or released a kit. It's the caliber of the targets that we're even linked to, let alone the players that we actually look like signing. Ignore the will we, won't we, João Paulinho stuff, because we'd all love him home, but the realism of that deal will come down to his decision-making, not Fulham's ultimately, because let's face it, half the league would probably want him to play for them, and it's just a matter of his decision-making on where he chooses to go and how much game time he gets going wherever he goes. It's the other caliber of players, the Dewsbury Halls, the French backup goalkeepers to Leno, the linked with 4 different fullbacks / left and right backs, being left and right backs. I mean, it's like, where are the wingers? Where are the strikers? Where are the actual hopeful players that if we do go and sign and that make it worth this delay? Where are the game changers? Like, when was the last time realistically outside of João Paulinho that we had an absolute world beater in our squad? And João Paulinho was a defensive midfielder. The defensive midfielder should never be the highlighted player of anyone's team. The accolades always go to the forward players, and we just haven't had that for donkey's years, arguably since Dempsey? Like, realistically, we need to go and like, I can't think of, you could argue we did with Ross McCormack when we were in the Championship because he was that player in the Championship, and that's fair. You could argue the same with Mitrovic in the Championship, but we haven't had a player in the Premier League of an attacking caliber that everyone is scared of and is worried about scoring against them. It just doesn't happen. We're a good team because of Marco Silva, and I'll always credit him for that much. And we beat sides we shouldn't beat because of his tactical ability, and that's tremendous. But a few stars sprinkled in for not only improvement of the squad, but our enjoyment wouldn't go amiss, lads. Like, honestly, sign me somebody to be excited about. I thought that was going to be Emil Smith Rowe last year, and God forbid I was wrong. But hey ho, yeah, it's give me something to be excited about.
I'm wrong.
Go on, mate.
I don't think you're wrong. I think for me, my biggest problem isn't necessarily the lack of signings. As frustrating as it is, anyone who follows me on Twitter will know that, I tweeted 23 days ago that everybody else has released the kit and started signing people, and we hadn't done anything. And then 10 days later, we still hadn't. And then 20 days gone by, and we still hadn't. It's now 24 days since I tweeted that, and we still haven't. It's frustrating. My biggest problem is that none of the links that we've had so far are improving the squad. For me, they're not necessarily in positions that we actually need players in. I'm really concerned about how ill prepared we are as a club, considering we've known the position we were in with certain players in certain positions since January. It was frustrating when we didn't sign anyone but Willian in January, when there were certain positions in the squad that were absolutely screaming for some signings to come in. It's even more disconcerting that there are certain areas of the fan base that seem to be quite happy that at least we haven't lost Tom Kenny and Kenny Tete. And, we as a club, we spoke about at the end of last season, right? We needed 7 to 10 players to have a squad that can compete for a whole season, because that's our biggest problem. Let's not beat about the bush, right? The reason why we didn't get Europe last year was because our squad was completely spent by the end of February.
Or injured.
We needed 7 to 10 players. Or injured. We needed 7 to 10 players that can keep a squad fresh, so we can keep pushing and have the ability to get through. Right now, we're still 4 players down to where we ended the season. Signing another backup goalkeeper, okay, that's probably a good thing, because Leno needed a little bit of pressure on him, because I don't think Bender is the answer to that, and that's fine. And if that signing is going to happen now, or that signing is going to be the last signing, it doesn't really matter as long as that one's made. My frustrating thing is some of the players that we've been linked to, outfield-wise, have been really underwhelming, and the ones that are a little bit exciting, they're breaking the bank to the point where it almost doesn't make sense. There's an awful lot of players that we've been linked to that are high risk in the sense of injury records, the way they played over the last couple of years. It's a real concern for me that it's not necessarily the links, it's that the ones that are coming through are a bit drab, and the ones that are coming through aren't even that reliable. I know Fulham like to keep things quiet, do things on the silent, and do things on the slow, but the lack of communication between the club and the fan base is ridiculous at the moment, and that's been highlighted even more by the whole farce of the pre-season tour to Portugal announcements. Them announcing dates for the club for fans to book to go out, and then there'll be a minimum of 3 games for fans to be able to go to. Didn't say anything for 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden they finally announced the games that we were playing out there. Waited 3 weeks to then announce that 2 of those games are behind closed doors, and then waited another 2 weeks to announce, oh wait, now we're playing another team on this date, but that's also going to be behind closed doors. And because we're playing that one behind closed doors, one of the games that we'd originally planned the fans could go to is now been cancelled. So you've got hundreds of Fulham fans that plan their summer holidays to go on pre-season tour to Portugal to watch Fulham and enjoy the sun, expected to go to see a minimum of 2 games, and all they're going to do now is be able to go see Fulham versus Nottingham Forest, which is a game they can see 2 times during the season in England. And all of that has come through poor communication links, and you're telling people a week before they're meant to be going on this trip that actually, you can't go see the X amount of games, you can only see one. From top to bottom, communication at the club at the moment is diabolical. It's embarrassing, and it's left us in a position where we moaned about it loads last season. As a show we did, as individual fans we did, about how the communication between the club and the fan base has broken down so much that it's almost a slap in the eye every time they talk to Fulham fans, or when we release information. We've almost done so in a way that it's belittling in the way they do it. But this is unbelievable. My brother's one of those people. We'll come back and say, let me say this. My brother's one of those people who's going out to Portugal on this pre-season tour. He's worked all year to save up to go on this holiday. And the whole thing was, he's young. This is when he can afford to go on a lads' holiday to watch Fulham play in Europe. And, as fun as it is meant to be. And the club's lack of communication, lack of planning, and lack of thought for the fans has meant that, almost a wasted trip. Because he doesn't want to go watch Fulham versus Nottingham Forest in the Algarve. He can watch it at Craven Cottage and he can watch it in Nottingham at the end of the season. AJ, what did you want to add there, mate?
I was going to say, I think you meant to say fans of the local football club, as we've been referred to recently, as opposed to fans of as opposed to Fulham fans.
Yeah, well, we're not even going to get into talk about the Putney Pier because the Fulham Pier, because I could go into that very, very deeply about how touch that is. But we know they're separate entities, and that whole problem came about because that actual tweet that linked to that page was from Fulham Football Club themselves. Mozza, we haven't spoken to you yet, mate. Let's get you involved. 11 minutes in. How have you found the summer so far? How frustrated are you? Have there been any links that have excited you? Have there been anything that you've heard that you feel that you'd have, or has it just been a bit drab?
The fact that I don't really know what to say says it all. From what you two boys have just said, what more can you add? And I come from like a very much sort of heartfelt fan perspective. There's nothing. There's nothing, is there? I mean, yeah, we can. Yeah, Josh King, great news. Josh King is not the answer to all the problems we've just talked about. But as a Fulham fan, right, I'm not surprised at any of this. I'm not surprised at any of this. We can go, oh, it's Fulham. It is, right? Make all the jokes you want. It is a joke. If you're a Fulham fan right now, they're basically going like that to you. That's what they're doing. Who's responsible? Where does the buck stop? Who does the buck stop with? Like, lack of communication, just absolutely taking the piss out of the fans. I'm not surprised. I don't accept it. This is unacceptable. But just talking about kits, releasing new kits. I can't remember the last time we've released one that hasn't been, a week or two before the season starts. I'm probably exaggerating a bit. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No. Do you know what? This is part of the wider problem, right? We've been speaking about it for probably the last 2 years, where there's been a gradual breakdown in communication between the club and fan base, and it's been over much more important things than what kit the team's going to wear next season, right? Ultimately, we're going to be wearing a white shirt and black shorts next season. We know that, right? What it looks like exactly, we don't know. But that's it. That's frustrating. It's annoying that we are the only club in the league so far that haven't released their kit. It's annoying we're the only team in the league so far who haven't signed anybody that wasn't a member of the squad last season. These things are annoying. The problem is it's just a wider cog in what has been a complete breakdown of communication and over the last 2 years. We know that the club are all in on Fulham Pier, sorry. We know they're all in on the Riverside. We know they're all in on their corporate. We know they're all in on trying to get influencers in to sell the packages of watching Fulham and watching football, to the local fans to come and watch the local club. And for us legacy fans, us fans that have been there for more than 6 years, 6 weeks, 6 days, whatever, they couldn't care about. It's a real issue. Everyone knows. Like, I took real problem with the local football club thing. because it's so frustrating and it's such a kick in the teeth because it's the club's own communications. And I get that Fulham Pier is being run as a separate entity from Fulham Football Club, but
then tweeting
you
from a
have
Fulham
one of the most
Pier
historic football
account.
clubs in the club. Yeah, you have one of the most historic football clubs in the city, right? That you are representing. That whole thing is still Fulham Football Club. You're representing. So to play down our own historical importance to the area, right? It's ridiculous. And understanding like Chelsea were running Putney Pier or Fulham Pier, and they don't want to mention Fulham because they're the rival, but they're not. We're not the rival. We're the fucking owner. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense in the way that they're doing it, And it's just a wider issue that goes with the lack of communication. And even after it was brought up by the FST, brought it up, and they corrected the way that it was worded on that website. It's gone from us sounding like the local football club to an inconvenience because they have to shut on match days. Like, it's one of those things that, they need. I know they want to run it separately as completely separate entities, but they need to there needs to be some link. There needs to be some coercive, like some communication between the two, that they're working together and not separately.
Can I just add to it as well? Sorry, AJ, but just off the back of that, communication and like with the matches, the stands. Look, scum like us, the average man. I mean, I know Ash and you and I, we sit in there. How many years? I don't know if you ever sat in the Riverside, but I imagine if you were to get a season ticket, if you lived a bit closer, AJ, you wouldn't be able to afford the Riverside either. No. But point system as well, like Ash, legacy fans. I've got mates who haven't been able to afford season tickets for just 4 years. And they still have to pay that top whack price because for those I'm sure everyone watching must be aware, it's the points, like however many years you've had a season ticket, then the price goes down, blah, blah, blah. It's meant to be like that loyalty sort of, well done, pat on the back scheme. It's bollocks. But even things like I saw earlier, our first game, Brighton away, obviously away tickets go on sale to season ticket fans first, but then I saw some other crap about how that is being like drip fed out within a similar system. I'll hold my hands up if I've got that wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me. I'm planning on going to Brighton away without giving away where I live. It's not too far for me to get to, but just the fact that they're doing that puts me off. I feel a bit insulted. What a pre-season game I am going to watch is when we play Frankfurt, 9th of August. But that's all very well. That was £20 a ticket as a season ticket holder. Lord knows what it is for, the average Joe, the average Jack. The other thing I was going to say as well that has really, really fucked me off, and sorry if you were going to plan on speaking about this anyway, the news that our game against Brentford is moved to 8 o'clock on a Saturday. I can't get my head around that. Because of how did they word it?
Yeah, well,
look at the other games and Chelsea at 5:30. Just
what the fuck is this TV scheduling?
There's going to be a lot of this season. There's going to be a lot of this season because Sky now have permission to put games later on Saturday night, and they now have permission to put games later on Sunday nights in order to fulfill their contract for the amount of games they're going to show this year. It's going to happen a lot this season. It's going to frustrate an awful lot of people, and I think it's not just a Fulham issue. This is a Premier League issue where an awful lot of fans are going to have games that are going to be moved to mental times, especially when they're playing against teams that are playing in Europe that are going to make no sense. Moving a Fulham Brentford game to an 8 p.m. on a Saturday night makes no sense. Neither team are in Europe, right? That should be a 3 o'clock Saturday. And if you want to show it on TV, make it the 12:30 kickoff. They're annoying, right? But make it the 12:30 kickoff. Make it the 5:30 kickoff. That's fine. But 8 p.m. kickoffs on the weekend are not on because they're really hard for people, normal people. Like for me personally, it's hard to schedule. It's hard to plan around.
Yeah. Even if you wanted to move it to the Sunday for TV, again, it's a pain in the arse. But it's a Super Sunday fixture. Cool. Under English culture, we all understand Super Sunday for Sky Sports. Like, it is what it is. And a local derby would be considered a Super Sunday fixture. We'd all be pissy about it being moved to a Sunday, sure, but not as pissy as it being moved to a Saturday 8 p.m. kickoff just for the sake of slapping it on television. Like, 2 p.m. on a Sunday, annoying, but better than 8 p.m. on a Saturday. Like, that is just that fixture to me screams international broadcasting. It's a better, more appropriate time for a later audience internationally. Like, that's what that screams to me. I know Sky will be the ones broadcasting
you're not wrong.
So once
wrong.
again, sod the actual fans, sod the local fans.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Unfortunately, they don't. We know they don't care about match count fans. We know they don't. Right? They haven't done for ages. But let's get off a moment about this. Let's talk about some positives. And much as we've been moaning about communication, one of the good bits of news that come out today via the FST and Fulham is that Fulham have actually announced ticket banding again for this year. We didn't have it last season. It's annoying. The prices are frustrating, but there's no surprises now in terms of ticket prices for the season. We know what they're going to be. You might not know exactly who's an A, who's an A plus, who's a B, and who's a C category game, but we know how much those tickets are going to cost. We also know from it that there is going to be another family there at some point this season that has semi-reasonable ticket prices in certain areas of the ground. It's a welcomed move by the club because last year they got rid of this completely, and they were going off a dynamic ticket structure, and we didn't know from week to week how much tickets were going to cost the games, and we moaned about it loads on the show. We moaned about it, as much as it's frustrating, and the ticket prices are still way too high. But at least there is some open communication there where we didn't have that last year, and we'll get on to talk about ticket prices in the coming weeks, and we talk about we break down the new season, and we know what's going on there. We've already had to deal with the club yet again having bad press this week because we've got the most expensive season ticket in the country. People don't really look on the average season ticket prices for stadiums and stuff, but Fulham shouldn't have a £3,000 season ticket when the club, the squad playing in front of you hasn't been improved since January and has only got worse. But we won't talk about that until we get onto it. We only really wanted to do a quick catch up and build on the frustration. It's a bit annoying that we don't have any good news to talk about Fulham wise. We're recording this on Wednesday night. This is due to come out on Friday. So we know our luck. Fulham will probably sign 7 players between now and this coming out because that'll be the way that is. But we obviously we also here to just discuss some of the new things we've got coming on this year for the channel. As mentioned by AJ earlier on, we have got 2 new co-hosts on the channel. They are Kyle and Matt, who Kyle's already been involved in some of the recordings of some other bits we'll talk about in a minute. Matt hasn't joined us on a show yet, but hopefully he will do soon. Drew is also due to be with us. He just wasn't available tonight to sit down and record this. So we are up to a slightly bigger team. We also have a whole new team of co-hosts to host the brand new Fulham Women's podcast, which is going to be a separate show, which is solely dedicated to the Fulham Women's team. It's run in conjunction with the Fulham Women's Supporters Club. If you're a member of that, then look out for it. They will be pushing the show and stuff. There's no announcement at the moment to exactly who those co-hosts are, but look out on our socials, on the Fulham Women's Sports Club's socials, because we will make an announcement on that as soon as possible. There's just a few things we're trying to sort out there to make sure that everything's set and everything's good for when their season starts. That's good. We're bringing in a new show this year for quick takes, which will be quick videos that 10-15 minutes long that we recorded after games. Fulham home games, we will try to me, Mozza and Drew will try to catch up as much as we can after games and just have a quick chat about them. The ones we can't, I'm 100% sure that AJ, Kyle and Matt will be available to do quick reviews of games before we then sit down and do our usual preview shows that will come around on Mondays and Fridays. So there's that. Some good news around the FFC and me. That's also back this year, as we've already announced on our socials. I've actually already recorded 3 episodes of this new season. 2 very big guests that we're not announcing just yet. We will do, just before they come out. But we are obviously going to announce that our first episode will come out the first week of the football season, and our guest for that is Kit Simons. So we will get that one out, and then we're hoping to sit down and record a few more. So there's that. We've also given AJ license to do his YouTube magic, and he's running some more YouTube style Fulham content, football content, not necessarily based around Fulham. There is some that are Fulham based, but they're more fun episodes that we'll sit down every now and then and do some. We've recorded some in the bank already. AJ, I don't know, when's the first one? Do you know when the first one of those is due out, or when it may come out?
The editor's working on them at the moment. We're hoping to get some published early next week, and then we'll have a rollout of maybe 1 or 2 a week going forward. There's a host of different game show style videos. There's a host of controversial topics and general football videos as well. There's one where we recently got the opportunity to call Scott Parker a terrorist again, so that was a lot of fun. Any opportunity is a good opportunity, and as much as you'll be guessing who the new hosts of FFC and me are, you'll also be playing along with some Guess Who between me, Ash, and some of the other boys as well in an upcoming video, so look out for it. That was a lot of fun to record. So yeah, lots of more fun YouTube-y content coming your way, courtesy of Ful-on.
Yeah, so hopefully, we by the beginning of this season will have, content for you daily throughout the week. We'll have our preview shows. We'll have our quick takes on match days. We'll have the women's show, which will probably be, at the moment, we're not quite sure that's going to be weekly or bi-weekly, but we'll announce that as soon as we can do. And then we'll have some more videos like that. And we're also hoping that throughout the season, we'll get a chance to do a few more live and interactive shows. We did a couple last year. They were quite fun to do, but we want to do more of them, take advantage of, interacting with you guys as fans and, people who listen to the show in a way that means that, we're creating content you actually want to listen to, you want to get involved in. Other than that, that's pretty much it for this. We are probably not going to be around for one of these shows for another week or so. Some of us are going away for the week, so not available to record. Mention no names, but it's me. So we'll have to deal with that. But hopefully in the week that I'm away, Fulham signed some players and we have some content and some stuff to come back and talk about in the build up to the new season. As soon as the new kits are out, as soon as some players are signed, we will have some content on those things that actually happening. We do apologise that obviously there's been a radio silence over the last couple of weeks, but as I say, in our defence, absolutely nothing has happened at Craven Cottage other than players that already played for a signing. On that note, obviously, we're very pleased that Kenny Tete's re-signed. We could do a whole episode talking about how happy we are about Tom Kenny re-signing. Mozza probably not so much on that one, and King signing a new contract. But,
I'm going to do my own content with 2 other hosts, Felix Magath and Laurie Sanchez.
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh Jesus Christ!
We'll call that twat. We'll call that twat's corner. So you can come and join us for that. No, it is what it is.
Cheesy niche.
We'll see you all guys in a couple of weeks. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks for some more of these full-on podcast shows. In the meantime, as I say, look out for some of the videos that AJ has made as they come out. We will obviously put some notifications of them coming out on our socials and everything. Other than that, we'll see you soon. Hopefully Fulham can pick stuff up, and other than that, come on you boys.